you have been thinking about buying a truck or an SUV, you are about to have more leverage than ever. Across America, General Motors and Chevrolet dealers are desperate, and I mean desperate, to sell off models that no one seems to want anymore. Some of the biggest names in the industry are sitting unsold, and dealers are slashing prices like never before. Stick around, because today we are counting down the 14 models they are practically begging you to take home. Chevrolet Trax. This SUV was reintroduced with one clear goal: attract budget-conscious buyers with a subcompact sport utility vehicle that promises practicality at a low cost. On paper, it checks the right boxes: decent fuel economy, compact footprint for city driving, and a low starting price that makes it accessible to first-time buyers or those looking for an affordable daily driver. But that strategy has backfired. Buyers in the compact crossover space expect more than just affordability. Competitors like the Kia Seltos and the Toyota Corolla Cross offer stronger engines, more refined interiors, and better feature sets even at comparable price points. The Trax, while new in its current form, still feels fundamentally outdated in its design language and performance. The interior plastics feel cheap, the tech is underwhelming, and the driving dynamics leave little to be desired. It lacks all-wheel drive, which further limits its appeal in snowy or rugged regions of the United States. Despite its fresh look, the Chevrolet Trax simply fails to stand out. Dealerships across the country have resorted to offering deep discounts, 0% interest financing, and even free maintenance plans to push these vehicles off their lots. Yet the inventory continues to grow. Many buyers walk in, see the Trax on the floor, and quickly move on to something more substantial, whether from within the Chevrolet lineup or a rival brand. But if the Trax feels behind the times, this next sport utility vehicle barely even shows up on buyer radars. Chevrolet Blazer EV. This was meant to be Chevrolet's boldest move yet, an all-electric sport utility vehicle designed to revive a nameplate once synonymous with rugged American utility. The Blazer EV arrived with head-turning styling, multiple trim levels, and big promises about battery tech and performance. On paper, it seemed like a breakthrough. Up to 320 miles of estimated range, sharp acceleration, and the latest Ultium battery system from General Motors. And yet, the moment buyers stepped into dealerships, the enthusiasm vanished. In real-world driving, the Blazer EV falls far short of expectations. Its range drops sharply under load, especially in colder climates or when towing. The software experience has been buggy, frustrating many early adopters. And perhaps most damning of all, the styling has been polarizing. Too aggressive for some, too bland for others. The interior feels plastic and dated, especially when compared to rivals in the same price bracket. Then comes the biggest issue: cost. Despite tax incentives and dealer discounts, the upper trims of the Blazer EV can reach price points that cross into luxury territory. For a brand not known for premium electric vehicles, that is a hard sell. Dealerships are now offering substantial cashback, special financing terms, and even loyalty bonuses to spark interest. But the response has been lukewarm at best. Inventory is building, and dealers are growing increasingly desperate. And while the Blazer EV confuses buyers, the next one just leaves them cold. Chevrolet Malibu. Once a cornerstone of the American midsize sedan market, the Chevrolet Malibu built its reputation on reliability, fuel efficiency, and everyday value. Dating back to the 1960s, it earned the trust of families and commuters alike with its no-nonsense approach. Today's Malibu still offers a comfortable ride, good gas mileage, and a roomy back seat. Features that, on paper, should make it an ideal choice for professionals and fleet buyers alike. But the market has moved on, and it left the Malibu behind. In a landscape now dominated by crossovers, the Malibu feels like an afterthought. The design is dated, the infotainment system lags behind the competition, and General Motors has made very few meaningful updates over the past several model years. There is no hybrid option, no all-wheel drive variant, and no compelling performance trim. Even more damning is the fact that many Malibu units end up in rental fleets, further eroding the vehicle's appeal to private buyers. When consumers associate a car with rentals and taxis, the emotional connection disappears, and without emotional value, price becomes the only lever left to pull. Sales continue to decline. Dealers continue to receive stock they cannot move, and still General Motors hesitates to pull the plug on a model whose prime passed over a decade ago. Speaking of forgotten, the next sport utility vehicle tried to stand out and failed: Chevrolet Trailblazer. With bold styling, a sporty profile, and promises of versatility, the Chevrolet Trailblazer aims to carve out its space in the crowded subcompact sport utility vehicle market. Designed to balance city-friendly utility with a hint of adventure, it offers sleek lines, two-tone paint options, and a modest turbocharged engine. On paper, it looks like an ideal choice for younger buyers or urban drivers wanting an affordable, nimble crossover. Add in decent fuel economy, a solid array of safety features, and a surprisingly roomy interior for its size, and the Trailblazer appears to check all the right boxes for budget-conscious sport utility vehicle shoppers. But step closer, and the cracks start to show. The Trailblazer suffers from what can only be described as an identity crisis. It is marketed as a sport utility vehicle, yet its small size, limited cargo space, and underwhelming powertrain make it feel more like a dressed-up hatchback than a true utility vehicle. Buyers are confused. The biggest issue is pricing, as buyers compare it to rivals like the Toyota Corolla Cross, Kia Seltos, or even Chevrolet's own Equinox. The Trailblazer starts to look expensive for what it offers. Pricing often climbs dangerously close to $30,000 once options are added, despite the vehicle's limited capability and brand reputation. But if the Trailblazer struggles to define what it is, the next vehicle on this list struggles to justify why it exists at all. If you are finding this breakdown eye-opening, make sure to smash that like button and hit subscribe, because the models coming up are even more surprising. Chevrolet Bolt EUV. By all accounts, the Chevrolet Bolt EUV should be a breakout hit. It is fully electric, relatively affordable, and offers enough driving range to easily cover the daily needs of most American drivers. On paper, it looks like the perfect entry point for budget-minded buyers looking to step into electric vehicle ownership without paying luxury prices. With nearly 250 miles of range per charge, respectable acceleration, and upscale features like Super Cruise Driver Assistance, all wrapped in a package priced under $40,000, the Bolt EUV checks nearly every practical box. But despite these appealing attributes, the Bolt EUV has become one of the most heavily discounted and least wanted electric vehicles in the country. Why? Because consumer trust in the model has been shattered. After a string of high-profile battery recalls and fire risks, confidence in the Bolt nameplate nosedived. Buyers became wary of both the reliability of the product and the long-term viability of Chevrolet's electric vehicle program. Add to that a sparse public charging infrastructure and growing competition from brands like Hyundai, Kia, and Tesla, and the Bolt EUV quickly fades into irrelevance. Even after Chevrolet began slashing prices and offering incentives as high as $5,000, the Bolt EUV could not recapture its momentum. Dealerships now offer deep markdowns, loyalty bonuses, and extended warranties just to keep units moving. Still, many consumers see it as a short-term solution in a long-term market evolution. The result is rows of Bolt EUVs sitting under dealership lights, waiting for buyers who simply are not coming. And while Bolt buyers hesitate over batteries, the next Chevrolet truck stalls out at the checkout despite a complete redesign. Chevrolet Colorado. The redesigned Chevrolet Colorado, particularly in its high-end trims like the Trailboss and the ZR2, was supposed to re-establish the model as a serious player in the midsize truck category, with aggressive styling, improved ground clearance, and a turbocharged 2,700 cubic centimeter engine, delivering up to 310 horsepower and 430 pound-feet of torque. It looked like a true off-road competitor. Inside, the cabin was modernized with larger infotainment displays, better materials, and a slew of safety and driver assist features. It checked all the right boxes, at least on paper, but the rollout of the new Colorado has backfired. Not because the truck is bad, but because the price point is way out of sync with buyer expectations. The high trims, especially the ZR2, are climbing past $50,000 after taxes and fees, entering full-size truck territory without offering full-size truck capabilities. At that price point, many buyers are asking, why not just get a Ram 1500 or a Ford F-150? Dealerships have responded with aggressive lease offers, cashback promotions, and dealer-added incentives. Yet inventory continues to grow. Buyers looking for a basic work truck are turned off by the inflated pricing, while off-road enthusiasts often look elsewhere for more specialized rigs. Worse still, even the base trims of the Colorado are being overshadowed by more affordable alternatives from Toyota and Ford. For many, Chevrolet's attempt to go premium in the midsize segment feels forced. course and out of touch with what truck buyers actually want. At least the Colorado tried to innovate. The next truck on this list just gave up entirely: GMC Canyon. Positioned as the more upscale sibling to the Chevrolet Colorado, the GMC Canyon set out to deliver a premium experience for mid-sized truck buyers. At a glance, it seems to hit the mark. The styling is bolder, the interior materials are a step up, and added technology gives it a more polished, modern edge. Under the hood, it packs a 2,700 cubic centimeter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, delivering 310 horsepower and 430 pound-feet of torque. Impressive figures for a mid-size pickup truck, and strong enough to compete on paper with some of the segment's best. However, the problem starts when buyers look at the price tag. The Canyon demands thousands of dollars more than the Colorado, despite sharing the same platform, engine, and core mechanical components. For most consumers, the Canyon feels like paying extra for window dressing. A fancier badge and minor tech boosts are not enough to justify the premium, especially in a market where affordability is king. Shoppers walking into a General Motors dealership are not blind. They see the Canyon next to the Colorado, compare the features, and walk away from the Canyon unless heavy incentives are in play. Many buyers even bypass it entirely, heading toward other brands offering better equipped trucks at similar or lower prices. As inventory swells, dealerships are growing desperate. Some regions are seeing double the normal lot time for Canyon models, especially high trims. The message from consumers is clear. If you are going to ask for premium pricing, you had better deliver something that truly stands apart. But if the Canyon is overpriced, the next model is just outdated. Chevrolet Camaro. Few cars embodied American muscle quite like the Chevrolet Camaro. With its aggressive design, unmistakable exhaust growl, and strong performance at an accessible price, it captured the hearts of enthusiasts and casual drivers alike. From a turbocharged 4-cylinder to a potent V6 and the iconic V8, the Camaro lineup offered something for nearly every kind of buyer. But that golden era has faded, and today, the Camaro faces a very different reality. Production for the Camaro is officially ending in the year 2024, and the writing has been on the wall for quite some time. Sales have been in decline for years, and despite price drops, special editions, and nostalgia-heavy marketing, buyers simply are not showing up. One of the biggest complaints is the outdated interior, which lags far behind rivals like the Dodge Challenger or even the Ford Mustang in terms of usability and design. It is not just about aging tech and ergonomics. Practicality has always been a weak spot. Cramped rear seats, poor visibility, and limited trunk space make the Camaro difficult to justify as a daily driver. As crossovers and electric vehicles continue to rise in popularity, the demand for two-door muscle cars has fallen off a cliff. Dealerships are trying everything to move remaining inventory. From discounted special trims to loyalty rebates, the incentives are stacking up, yet even die-hard fans are hesitant. With the model being discontinued, fears about parts availability, long-term value, and future resale have pushed the Camaro into an automotive dead zone. Chevrolet built a legacy with the Camaro, but in today's market, legacy is not enough to sell cars. At least the Camaro had a legacy. This next truck does not even have a direction. Chevrolet Silverado 1500. The Chevrolet Silverado 1500 has always been marketed as a tough, reliable workhorse. In its lower trims, it promises exactly what many buyers say they want: durability, utility, and a no-frills approach to getting the job done. Powered by a range of engines including a 2,700 cubic centimeter turbocharged 4-cylinder or a 5,300 cubic centimeter V8, the Silverado has the performance credentials to back up its image. But somewhere along the way, the base Silverado lost its appeal. These lower trims are now seen as too bare bones for modern buyers, who have come to expect at least some level of technology, comfort, and visual refinement even in budget pickups. Worse still, the price for a base model Silverado is no longer a bargain. In some regions, new base trims are only a few $1,000s cheaper than used, well-equipped models, making the new trucks a tough sell. This pricing mismatch has led to a buildup of unsold inventory. In rural areas, where demand for basic work trucks once dominated, lots are overflowing with untouched Silverados. Buyers looking for a truck that can handle job site duties are now exploring used markets or turning to fleet vehicles, where value is more evident. Dealerships are responding with 0% interest offers, bundled accessory packages, and service credits just to make the deal palatable. Even with all of that, sales for lower trims remain sluggish. The Silverado 1500 is still a respected name, but in its stripped-down form, it no longer meets the needs or expectations of today's evolving truck buyer. But if the Silverado is stuck in the past, the next truck is already dead. Chevrolet Express Van. At its core, the Chevrolet Express van is built on a promise: rugged, dependable commercial transportation for businesses that need a no-nonsense workhorse. For years, this full-size van found its place delivering goods, ferrying contractors, and serving as the backbone of countless small operations. It offers strong towing capability and a spacious interior that can be adapted for cargo or passenger needs. Under the hood, there is a 3,600 cubic centimeter V6 engine that produces 276 horsepower, or buyers can opt for the optional 6,000 cubic centimeter V8 for heavier hauling. On paper, it should still be a player. However, reality paints a very different picture. The Express van rides on an aging platform that has seen little meaningful innovation since the early 2000 era. Step inside, and you are greeted with a dated, bare-bones interior that feels decades behind rivals. Efficiency is another major problem. While competitors offer turbocharged engines and hybrid options, the Express van lags with thirsty traditional power plants. Fleet buyers and small businesses are increasingly ditching the Express van in favor of more modern options like the Ford Transit and the Ram ProMaster. Both alternatives offer better fuel economy, sleeker tech features, and more flexible upfitting possibilities. Meanwhile, General Motors keeps churning out the Express van, hoping old habits will die hard. Dealers are now practically begging businesses to take them off their hands, throwing in steep discounts, extended warranties, and flexible fleet financing packages. Yet even with generous incentives, the Express van feels like a relic of a bygone era, unable to compete with the expectations of today's commercial vehicle buyers. And if the Express van feels like a fossil, the next sport utility vehicle feels like a false promise. GMC Terrain. Sharp lines, signature lighting, and a bold grille give this sport utility vehicle an upscale look that immediately stands out in a crowded market. Designed to be an affordable entry into the world of premium crossovers, it pairs stylish design with a 1,500 cubic centimeter turbocharged four-cylinder engine, delivering 170 horsepower. On the surface, it promises a balance of efficiency, everyday power, and a touch of luxury. But once you look past the exterior, the illusion quickly starts to fade. Despite its polished first impression, the Terrain struggles to deliver where it matters most. Inside, materials feel budget grade compared to rivals, especially at the higher Denali trims that demand luxury prices. Ride quality is middling at best, with the road noise and an overly firm suspension diminishing what should be a smooth, quiet experience. The infotainment system, while functional, feels behind the times in a market that increasingly demands cutting-edge tech. Most damaging of all, the Terrain's pricing structure has boxed it into a dangerous corner. The higher trims land uncomfortably close to significantly better vehicles like the Hyundai Santa Fe, Toyota RAV4 Hybrid, and Honda Passport, all of which offer more performance, more features, and stronger brand loyalty. As a result, dealer lots are overflowing with Terrains that nobody seems eager to drive home. Even after heavy financing incentives, low-interest loans, and thousands of dollars in cashback offers, inventory levels remain stubbornly high across the country. From stale design to stale inventory, the next sport utility vehicle is no exception. Chevrolet Equinox EV. A sleek design, a promised range of up to 300 miles, and a lower starting price than most electric sport utility vehicle. This model was supposed to be General Motors' ticket to mainstream electric vehicle success. It aimed to build on the lessons of the Bolt, offering a more stylish, practical option that could attract both loyal Chevrolet fans and a wave of new buyers. On paper, it looked like a game changer, the electric breakthrough General Motors had been chasing for years. However, execution has been the downfall. Software glitches, multiple production delays, and a confusing launch sequence have eroded consumer trust before the Equinox EV even properly entered the market. Buyers expecting a gasoline version felt alienated, while electric vehicle shoppers were spooked by headlines about reliability issues and shifting delivery dates. General Motors' electric vehicle roadmap suddenly looked unstable, and the Equinox EV became a symbol of that uncertainty. Even early dealer allocations have struggled to find homes. Despite aggressive promotional efforts, early interest has cooled significantly. Buyers are waiting to see if Chevrolet can iron out the bugs, while others are choosing proven options like the Hyundai Ioniq 5 or Tesla Model Y instead. Dealerships are already bundling loyalty bonuses, offering up to $7,000 in discounts in some regions, and extending warranties to attract hesitant buyers. But the damage to the model's initial momentum might already be irreversible. But if the Equinox EV is off to a rough start, the next pickup truck has flatlined. Chevrolet Silverado electric vehicle. Built on General Motors' highly anticipated Ultium platform, this vehicle promised to blend legendary Silverado toughness with cutting-edge electric innovation. On paper, it sounded like the best of both worlds. Buyers were teased with bold numbers, up to 664 horsepower, more than 780 pound-feet of torque, and a towing capacity exceeding 10,000 pounds. Chevrolet positioned the Silverado electric vehicle as a truck capable of everything: hauling, off-roading, long commutes, while producing zero emissions. However, the real world quickly exposed the gaps between the hype and reality. Even with a maximum range of up to 400 miles under ideal conditions, actual use scenarios paint a grimmer picture. Towing heavy loads, climbing hills, driving at highway speeds, or enduring cold weather can cut the range by half or more. Long charging times only worsen the issue, as many public fast charging stations cannot deliver the promised speeds, leaving owners frustrated on long trips. Add in the reality that reliable charging infrastructure is still patchy across much of America, and suddenly the Silverado electric vehicle looks far less appealing for traditional truck buyers. The price has been another major sticking point. Higher trims quickly climb past $100,000, making the Silverado electric vehicle a luxury truck in a market already grappling with affordability issues. Even with generous government incentives, dealer markdowns, and cash rebates, buyers have remained hesitant. Fleet operators, worksite crews, and personal truck owners all seem to be thinking the same thing. The risk outweighs the reward. What was supposed to be a revolution has instead become a cautionary tale about overpromising and under-delivering in the electric truck market. But one model sits above all the rest: the one General Motors wishes you would forget entirely. GMC Hummer electric vehicle. This car was designed to be a spectacle. Crab-walking technology, removable roof panels, insane acceleration, and enough off-road features to scale the side of a mountain. This was not just a truck, it was a status symbol, a nod to both ruggedness and excess. At launch, the numbers stunned the automotive world. Up to 1,000 horsepower, more than 11,500 pound-feet of torque, and a 0 to 60 miles per hour sprint in just about 3 seconds. Yet beneath the flashy marketing, the reality of the Hummer electric vehicle quickly became impossible to ignore. It is enormously heavy, tipping the scales at over 9,000 pounds, and that mass translates into poor real-world efficiency. Despite a battery pack larger than many small electric cars combined, real-world range often falls well below expectations, especially when pushing the truck off-road or towing. Charging such a massive battery takes considerable time, even on the fastest chargers available. Buyers quickly realized that living with a Hummer electric vehicle involved frequent charging stops, long wait times, and careful route planning, the opposite of freedom. Price is another brutal hurdle. With many models pushing past $110,000 before options, buyers are questioning whether the prestige is worth the compromises. Dealers across the country are now slashing prices, offering extended warranties, free maintenance packages, and enormous cash incentives just to get them off the lot. Despite the technological marvel packed inside the Hummer electric vehicle, the truck feels like a gimmick more than a game changer. A niche product without a sustainable market. That is the full list. But now it is your turn. Let us know your thoughts and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.